Hello, I'm Sally, and I set up this channel to talk about what I'm going through with my leg ulcer. I've made other videos too, which you may want to view. If you look at nothing else, please look at the prevention video. Today, I'm going to talk about how a leg ulcer can affect you physically and mentally. Well, I'm going to tell you how it is affecting me, and maybe not so much the physical, it is the mental side of it. But before I start, I had an active for me, day yesterday, and it was incredibly painful, and it was after only 2 hours sleep. I actually fell asleep on the sofa for an hour and a half when we got home, and when I went to bed, I slept for 6.5 hours unbroken. That's a record since this all began last October. I admit to taking a paracetamol and codeine, but I feel so much better today in myself just for having a sleep. I want to celebrate. Okay, so it started at Christmas when I found I didn't care about things. I'm not religious, but we buy each other gifts at Christmas and have a special meal, never turkey. We don't overeat, but we do get things we wouldn't normally eat. And last year I got my husband some sweets and treats and gave them to him throughout the day. And I just scrunched some Christmas wrapping around them just before I handed them to him. And I don't even remember what we had to eat. I found I couldn't think straight. I would sit at my laptop to do admin, and my mind would just go blank. I had to create a chart just so I could check that I'd paid all the bills. I can't concentrate for long, and if I'm writing emails or working on something, it takes 2 or 3 times longer than normal because I find myself drifting. If I'm watching a program, even one that I really want to see, I find that I've not been listening. I may be looking at the screen, but I have no idea what's been said, but I actually think that I'm watching it. My husband asks me a question and I respond straight away with the first thing that comes into my head because I haven't actually heard what he's asked me, or because I don't actually think about the question he's asked me, because my ulcer's at the front of my mind. If we're sitting talking, then it's a bit different because I really try and concentrate. But you shouldn't have to concentrate on a conversation. But even then, sometimes, without me realizing, I've just drifted away again. And that can happen when I'm speaking, and I'll start to say something and forget or get muddled about what I was going to say. And it's not like the normal thing where you forget at the end of the sentence. It's just a bit different. And I was in so much pain yesterday that at night when we were chatting, I stated a fact that was totally wrong, and when Ken pointed it out, I immediately knew that I'd switched the facts in my mind. So even though I thought about what I was going to say, I still got confused. I admit that I am a scatty person, but yesterday I separated 2 aspirins in their foil. I took one, and instead of throwing the foil away, I threw the aspirin in the foil away. And I was preparing dinner. I put the garlic and onions in front of me, chopped the onions, threw the skins away and couldn't find the garlic. Yeah, that's right. I'd thrown the whole bulb away. This is making me more daft than ever. I think this happens because there's never a time without hurt or pain, and it's on my mind all the time. Doing 2 things at once is totally impossible. If I'm cooking and we have the TV on, I don't hear or see what's going on unless I stop and look. I can't type and talk, and I can't think if someone is talking to me. If I'm typing and my husband talks to me, I totally forget what I'm doing. I've always been a bit forgetful. I think we all are, but now I'm worse than ever, and I think of something to add to my notes for the future videos, and by the time I've opened my book, which is by my side, I've forgotten what I was going to write. And talking of being forgetful, in my previous video, I said I would put a link below it, and I forgot. It's done now. As for shopping, first of all, I dread going out, and I have to build myself up for it. On bad days, I have to build myself up for going to the bathroom. But this is a real problem, as I drink at least 2 litres a day. So we go shopping, and I have a list, and yet I still forget to buy things that are on the list. And it's things that we really need, and several times it's been my aspirin. Thank goodness I have delightful young neighbours who like to look after their poor old neighbour. Thanks, guys, I really appreciate it. Everything takes longer. Learning the editing software took so much longer than normal. If I'm making dinner, it takes longer because I keep having to sit down and then go through the burning pain after I've been standing. Do it again and again. Making a shopping list takes an age, although the last few months I've used the same list and I just add if necessary, but we always need the same basics. If you're not experiencing these problems, please tell me your secret. I know that it's down to lack of sleep and constant pain. As I said, I had an excellent night last night, but the night before was not so good. I used to be really good at mental arithmetic. I could do it really quickly, but over the years I haven't been so quick and often would use a calculator. But the other day my husband asked me to do a quick calculation and I just couldn't do it. I think I started to use my fingers. I honestly can't remember if I did it in the end or used a calculator. But I'm suffering with a really odd thing, and I'd love to know if anyone else is experiencing this. If I'm cutting a lemon or using vinegar, my pain intensifies. The other night I just smelled vinegar and my ulcer started to sting more. If I use bleach or smell anything astringent, it's the same thing. Of course, it must be psychological, but the stinging and the burning is for real. Do you get the same? I'd love to know. Apart from this odd thing, everything else was really worrying me. As you know, I'm always researching ulcers. I can't stop myself. A month or so ago, I found an interesting part of an article in a medical magazine. I know I've got it on my favourites somewhere, but I've got about 80 other things on ulcers and I just can't find it, so I can't tell you the source of the paragraph I'm about to read you. But it seems like all of the above, apart from my vinegar acid problem, is normal. So here's what I read. Quality of life. Several studies have shown that patients with non-healing wounds have a decreased quality of life. Reasons for this include the frequency and regularity of dressing changes, which affect daily routine, a feeling of continued fatigue due to lack of sleep, restricted mobility, pain, odour, wound infection, and the physical and psychological effects of polypharmacy. Well, I do have aspirin and I do have paracetamol and codeine, but many people are taking mixtures of morphine-based drugs and very strong painkillers. So maybe I should stick with what I'm taking. The loss of independence associated with functional decline can lead to changes, sometimes subtle, in overall health and well-being. These changes include altered eating habits, depression, social isolation, and a gradual reduction in activity levels. Many patients with non-healing wounds complain of difficulties with emotions, finances, physical health, daily activities, friendships, and leisure pursuits. So, if you're being affected the same way as me, I hope that this has made you feel better about it. It's normal for this condition and it's temporary. When I finally get rid of these ulcers, it's nice to know I will be back to my old self, scatty and slightly forgetful, and able to enjoy the smell of a freshly cut lemon. As always, I would appreciate it if you will like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I urge you to please comment or email me if you want to be private. And maybe you will want to share this video too. I'm sure when my husband reviews it, he will better understand why I've been so difficult to live with. I almost forgot, I am short-tempered, it's one of my traits, but I'm worse than normal and apparently I'm short with him for no reason, and I respond curtly when I shouldn't. I don't mean to, and I don't realise I'm doing it. This is sort of an apology. So share this with your family and friends and hopefully they'll be more understanding. There is actually something else that I want to say, but I can't for the life of me remember what it was. And I'm not joking, it's true. I have several subjects for my future videos. I've no idea what the next one will be about. Maybe alternative therapies, maybe vitamins and minerals we should have without taking multivitamins, because why have extra of things we don't need? Maybe I'll cover sleep and how to get comfortable. We shall see. So in the meantime, as always, put your feet up and get well soon. Bye.